So hey you all, welcome back to my channel, and for today we're going to be doing something which seems to be like everyone's problem and everyone deals with this, and this is like the most asked question to me on Instagram, and that is about like how do you make your pores look a lot more smaller, or how do you make them look like as if they don't even exist. And so I basically like put up a video on how to do that, and that's what we're here for today. And so in case you haven't checked out my pack eye squad brushes review, make sure you check that out here. And quickly, without any further ado, let's get started with the tutorial. Pores are something which are like really natural and everyone has them. Like, trust me, everyone has them. And if you see any picture on Instagram where they don't have pores, even on mine, like if you see any of my eye pictures on Instagram, if my skin looks extremely smooth, it is edited, it is photoshopped. So it is just something just that we do just to make our skin look a lot more presentable. And mostly if we start uploading pictures with our skin unedited, we start getting a lot of hate comments saying like, oh my god, her pores look like this, her pimples look like this, her this looks like this. So just to avoid all that hate and just to keep it a lot more sane and calm, we just start editing our photos. So for the sake of the demo, I'm not going to be doing this side of my face, and I'm just going to be doing this side of my face just to make sure that you can understand the difference when we come to the ending of it. So let's start off. So I'm going to be starting off with the F80 foundation, and this is a really good one, and I'm just going to take like about half a pump of it. The step that we're going to be doing right now is really important, and I'm just basically applying my foundation on the skin. And once I'm kind of done applying the foundation, use your finger and press the foundation on your skin and kind of circle it and massage it on your skin, and that would kind of help the product to sink better into the skin, which helps just helps to basically fill in your pores, and it just makes it look a lot more diminished. So just make sure that you push the product well with your fingers so that the foundation does not sit upon your skin. So this is basically a Sigma F80 brush, and you can literally use any buffing brush for doing this step. Just make sure that your brush is a little dense and it has bristles which are like kind of standing upwards like what is shown. So just use any brush which does that. I really don't know how to use a sponge for doing this, because sponges usually just make your product just sit upon the skin, which I'm not really a big fan of. I kind of want to like just work the product into my skin, so I'm going to be using a brush to do that. Okay, so the next step is super important, and as you can see, I'm just pushing the product into my skin, and I'm not buffing, I'm not making circular motions, nor am I dragging it. I am basically just stippling and pushing the product. And the reason why I don't have to drag it is because we already gave it good amount of coverage with our finger. So right now we're just evening it out, and we're also just pushing the product into our skin. So moving on to a stippling brush, and this is the PAC 304 stippling brush. You can literally get any stippling brush. So just imagine that your skin is not flat. It kind of looks like a road with bumps and pits in it. So at that point of time, what do you have to do to make it look skin when you're looking at it from up? You basically have to fill in all of these small potholes and small grooves, right? That's basically what we're going to be doing, which is kind of like, it's basically kind of analogous to your skin. So we're going to use the stippling brush, and I'm going to push it into my skin, and I'm not buffing, I'm not moving the product. So when you just buff above the skin, it just makes the product just move above it, and we just want to push the product into all the areas wherever we have texture, like our pores and all that, so that it kind of sits much better on your skin without making it look too fake, but at the same time getting a good amount of coverage. So for the next step, I'm going to use the Loreal base magique, and I'm going to push it into my pores, and again not going to drag. If you drag, it's going to move the foundation, and your foundation will start to ball up, which you don't want. So I've just taken like the most tiniest amount of product on my finger, and we're gonna start to press it upon our skin. So because I have oily skin, I can't use a silicone primer directly on the base. So next up, we're going to move on to powder, and powder is like the most important step in this entire routine, because that is what just goes and sits into your pores because it's finely milled. And for that reason, we're going to use a loose powder instead of something which is like pressed, because pressed powders, they have binders which just increases texture, and it does not really, like, it isn't very finely milled compared to a loose powder. So I'm going to use a loose powder in the next step, and I'm going to use the K Beauty HD powder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the powder at like the tip of the sponge, and I'm going to take a lot of powder. So I'm going to fold my sponge like this. So I'm going to use the sponge and I'm going to press the product into my skin like this. So it just goes and sits in all the pores. Already the foundation and the primer would help in that, but this is just going to be an added layer because your loose powders are a lot more thinner and they're more like finely milled compared to, like the molecular sizes of your primers as well as your foundations. So next up, I'm going to use a Kiko Milano powder brush, and this is not like your typical powder brushes. I like my powder brushes to be like really thin and narrow so that I can spot powder my skin. So I'm going to use a brush like that, and it really has a pokey side on one of it. So I'm just going to use that and I'm going to press the product into my skin. So I'm not patting, I'm just pressing and I'm pushing the product. I'm not rubbing upon it because I don't want to move the product around. So this is going to help your skin look more natural, and it kind of helps you get a much better finish. So here's a close-up of my skin after the powder application. So let me know your feedback on this tip, and let me know whether you want some other tips, feedback, or any other, like review, or anything else, like any other look that you want me to do. So I'll be happy to do that for you. So I'll catch up to you guys for another tutorial or another tip or anything else. And until next time, bye.